Ezra English. Idioms Series. Short Lessons. Topic: Foods and Drinks.
Bread and butter. The idiom bread and butter is commonly used to refer to something that is essential or necessary for one's livelihood or survival. It often refers to the main source of income or the key components of a particular job or activity. In everyday conversations, you can use this idiom to ask someone about their primary source of income or the most important aspect of their job. For example, you could ask a friend who works in sales, "What's the bread and butter of your job?" Is it closing deals or building relationships with clients? When responding to a question like this, it's important to be specific and detailed about the most important aspects of your job. For example, a salesperson could respond by saying, "The bread and butter of my job is building strong relationships with clients." This not only leads to increased sales, but also creates a loyal customer base that can generate repeat business for years to come. In some situations, the term bread and butter can also be used to refer to something that is necessary for basic survival or sustenance. For example, you could ask someone who has just moved into a new apartment, "Have you stocked up on your bread and butter essentials?" Like food, toiletries, and cleaning supplies? When responding to a question like this, it's important to show that you understand the importance of basic necessities and have taken steps to ensure that you have enough of them. For example, you could say, "Yes, I've made sure to stock up on all of my bread and butter essentials. I have plenty of non-perishable food items, cleaning supplies, and toiletries to last me for several weeks." In a professional context, the term bread and butter can also be used to refer to a company's main source of revenue or the products and services that are the most essential to their success. For example, you could ask a business owner, "What is the bread and butter of your company? Is it your flagship product or your exceptional customer service?" In response to a question like this, a business owner could say something like, "The bread and butter of our company is definitely our flagship product. It's what sets us apart from our competitors and generates the most revenue for our business. However, we also place a high value on exceptional customer service, as it helps to build a loyal customer base that keeps coming back for more." The term bread and butter can also be used in a more personal context to refer to someone's primary interests or hobbies. For example, you could ask a friend who is a musician, "What's the bread and butter of your music? Is it writing new songs or performing live on stage?" In response to a question like this, a musician could say something like, "The bread and butter of my music is definitely writing new songs. It's what I'm most passionate about and what drives me to keep creating new music. However, performing live on stage is also a key part of my music, as it allows me to connect with my fans and share my music with a wider audience." In conclusion, the term bread and butter is a versatile idiom that can be used in a variety of situations to refer to something that is essential or necessary for one's livelihood or survival. It can be used in both personal and professional contexts, and can refer to anything from someone's primary source of income to their primary interests or hobbies. When using this idiom, it's important to be specific and detailed about the most important aspects of the subject being discussed.
Be a lemon. Have you ever heard someone describe something as a lemon? Maybe you were looking at a used car with a friend, and they said, "I don't want to buy this one, it's a lemon." Or perhaps you were at a garage sale, and the seller tried to convince you to buy a broken appliance by saying, "It just needs a little fixing up, it's not a lemon." In either case, the speaker was using the idiom "a lemon" to describe something that is defective or not worth the money. Essentially, if something is a lemon, it's faulty, unreliable, or otherwise disappointing. The origins of this idiom are a bit unclear, but it's believed to have originated in the United States in the early 20th century. Some sources say that it may have originated in the automotive industry, where cars that were poorly made or defective were sometimes referred to as lemons. Others speculate that it may have come from the practice of selling lemons, i.e., imperfect or spoiled fruit, as if they were good quality. Regardless of its origins, the phrase has become a common way to describe something that is subpar or unreliable. Here are a few examples of how you might hear the idiom used in everyday conversation. I had to take my car into the shop again. It's a total lemon. Don't bother with that restaurant, the food there is a lemon. I thought this watch was a good deal, but it turned out to be a lemon. In a more formal setting, you might hear the phrase used in a business context. For example, if a company produces a defective product, it might be said to have released a lemon onto the market. In this case, the idiom can be used to describe not just the product itself, but also the consequences of its poor quality. Now, let's take a look at how you might encounter this idiom in a speaking test. Here are a few sample questions that could be asked, along with suggested answers. Question: have you ever bought something that turned out to be a lemon? Answer: yes, I once bought a used computer that seemed like a good deal at the time. But after I got it home, I realized that it had all kinds of problems and was really slow. I ended up having to take it to a repair shop, but they told me it would be more expensive to fix than to just buy a new one. Question: can you think of a time when a friend or family member ended up with a lemon? Answer: actually, my sister recently bought a used car that turned out to be a lemon. She was really excited about it at first, but after a few weeks she started having all kinds of problems with it. It ended up costing her a lot of money to get it fixed, and she was really disappointed. Question: do you think it's important to do research before buying a big-ticket item to avoid ending up with a lemon? Answer: absolutely. It can be really frustrating and expensive to end up with a product that doesn't work properly. That's why I always try to read reviews and do my homework before making a big purchase. I think it's important to be an informed consumer and make sure you're getting your money's worth. Egg on one's face. Have you ever found yourself in an embarrassing situation where you wished the ground would swallow you up? If so, then you might be familiar with the idiom egg on one's face. This expression is used when someone experiences public humiliation or embarrassment as a result of their own actions. The idiom has its origins in the practice of throwing eggs at performers who gave a poor or unpopular performance, leaving them with egg on their face. Nowadays, the phrase is used more broadly to describe any situation where someone has made a mistake and feels embarrassed about it. Imagine you are presenting a report at a business meeting, and you have done extensive research to make sure you have all the facts and figures correct. However, during your presentation, you realize that you have made an error in your calculations, and the information you have presented is incorrect. As a result, you might feel like you have egg on your face, especially if your colleagues point out your mistake. This idiom can also be used to describe situations where someone is trying to embarrass or shame someone else. For example, if someone sets up a prank that backfires on them and they end up being the one who is embarrassed, you could say they have egg on their face. In speaking tests, this idiom might be used to test a candidate's ability to recognize and explain idiomatic expressions. For example, a speaking test examiner might ask a question like, have you ever experienced a situation where you felt like you had egg on your face? To which a possible answer could be, yes, I remember once when I was giving a presentation, and I made a mistake in my calculations, and my colleagues pointed it out. I felt like I had egg on my face, and it was a very embarrassing moment for me. Another question that might come up in a speaking test is, can you think of a time when someone tried to embarrass you, but it backfired on them? To which a possible answer could be, yes, I remember in high school, a group of classmates tried to pull a prank on me during a school assembly, but it backfired on them, and they ended up with egg on their face instead. It's important to note that this idiom is often used in informal situations and might not be appropriate in formal or professional settings. However, understanding idiomatic expressions like egg on one's face can help improve your overall fluency and comprehension of the English language.
The cream of the crop. Have you ever heard someone say that something is the cream of the crop? It's an interesting expression that people use to describe something that is the very best of its kind. If someone says that a particular restaurant serves the cream of the crop when it comes to steaks, for example, it means that the restaurant serves the absolute best steaks around. The origin of this phrase is not entirely clear, but it likely comes from the practice of separating cream from milk. When people used to milk cows, they would let the milk sit for a while so that the cream would rise to the top. The cream was considered the best part of the milk because it was rich and thick, and it was often used to make butter or other special treats. The cream was the cream of the crop when it came to milk. Today, people use the expression to describe things other than milk and cream. You might hear someone say that a particular athlete is the cream of the crop when it comes to basketball players, for example. Or you might hear someone say that a particular university is the cream of the crop when it comes to academic institutions. Essentially, people use the expression to describe anything that is the best of its kind. If you're preparing for a speaking test, you might encounter a question that asks you to describe something that you believe is the cream of the crop. For example, you might be asked to talk about your favorite restaurant or your favorite musician. Here are a few examples of questions you might encounter, along with some possible answers that use the expression. Question: what is your favorite type of cuisine? Answer: I absolutely love Italian food, and there's a little restaurant in my hometown that serves the cream of the crop when it comes to Italian cuisine. The pasta is always perfectly cooked, the sauce is rich and flavorful, and the atmosphere is cozy and inviting. It's definitely my go-to spot when I'm craving something delicious. Question: who's your favorite actor? Answer: that's a tough question, but if I had to choose, I would say that Meryl Streep is the cream of the crop when it comes to acting. She's incredibly talented and versatile, and she always manages to bring a sense of truth and authenticity to her roles. I've seen almost all of her movies, and I'm always blown away by her performances. Question: what is your favorite hobby? Answer: I really enjoy playing guitar, and I think that Gibson guitars are the cream of the crop when it comes to quality and craftsmanship. I saved up for months to buy my own Gibson, and it was worth every penny. The sound is so rich and full, and the guitar itself is just a work of art. I love spending hours playing and perfecting my technique. As you can see, there are many ways to use the expression cream of the crop in a speaking test. Just be sure to use it appropriately and make sure that your answer is relevant to the question being asked. With a little practice, you'll be able to incorporate this expression seamlessly into your speaking and impress your examiners with your command of the English language.